to JimiG's AnÖmaly, the podcast, hosted by Jim Lazak. Appearing on today's show is Detroit's own songwriter and performer, Scott Gist. We'll be discussing the making of his 2024 music release and smash hit, We Belong, along with his life of music in Detroit. So sit back and enjoy. We're glad you're here. And now your host, Jim Lazak. Glad you're with us. Today, we have with us in the studio the Mr. Scott Gist.
Wow, Wow. Hello.
How are you?
We're great.
You're an American musician from Detroit.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Born in Detroit.
Yeah, well, we want all of our listeners to know your story. You just released some new music in 2025. The big one that you worked on the music video, though, is the one that we're going to play today, We Belong.
We Belong.
Right? Yeah. So tell us about We Belong.
We Belong is a cool American song. Just about freedom and liberty, and happy to share this great planet and this great land and be thankful for everything, everyone that gave everything for it.
When you write music, how do you go about this process? Like We Belong, where did you get the idea for We Belong?
So I do a lot of weird tuning stuff. I'm a Goo Goo Dolls fan, so I have Goo Goo Doll tunings. And back in my acoustic era, I used to bring 8 acoustic guitars to an acoustic show. And a lot of that reason is for the detunings, right? So Goo Goo Dolls' Name, Slide, She Talks to Angels, from Black Crowes. So I really hated just using one guitar for one song. So sometimes I write in some of those weird tunings, and We Belong is actually written in the tuning of Name from the Goo Goo Dolls.
Okay. What is that tuning? It's not
a normal one that I'm aware of.
It's not Gag Dad or...
Geez, I don't know. I'd have to...
Double Drop D?
No, but it's not any of those.
No?
It's bizarre.
But you have all these guitars that you bring to these gigs, but you're not really too sure what the tunings are, or do you have like
I
a
got
spreadsheet?
Them down, yeah. There's a spreadsheet.
So
they stay exclusive to those tunings, so I got guitars that are exclusive for those.
Mm-hmm. Who performs on We Belong?
I play everything. So bass, all the guitars, the singing, all the background vocals. I'm a drummer. That's how I grew up. That's how I started. But it's too hard for me to record drums for myself. So I actually use a pedal. It's actually a strum pedal. Is how I record all the drums. I just get the beat, and then I overdub the toms. So, yeah, it's all me. Mixed, mastered. So.
I like that. I was just doing that before we came here. Friends of ours, we did a cover and thinking about putting out there wherever music's sold of
yes, sir.
No, actually I don't think you know these guys. We had a work band at Ford, and we all got together and we played Comfortably Numb, and it's really good. But we recorded it back in the day, back in I don't know, I'm gonna say 1995, and the drums weren't popping through. And so I have a V drum set in my studio, and I was doing the same thing, but I am a guitarist by trade, not a drummer. So I started just enhancing the drum beats with just snare, kick, and hi-hat.
Right.
I'm going to go back and add some cymbals just for dynamics, because the recording, I was listening to it on the way here. It sounds pretty good, but it's still not right. I'm kind of like a guy who keeps polishing, and I just really never know when the song's over.
Yeah, I should polish more, but the job's never over, right? We're our worst critics, so You just got to do it. You just got to sit back. And you know, it really bothers you. When I released, for weeks, maybe months, I sit there and I pick it apart. Oh, my God, this should have been louder. Here and you know what? 6 months after it's released, you don't even think about it anymore. And it's, you know, it's there and it is what it is. And I'm grateful it's out there, right?
Yeah. So as you're writing this song, you said We Belong, you wrote it in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
But you put it out in 2024.
Correct.
But you wanted to really wait for the release of the music video.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a tool maker during the day. I work in the auto industry. And, you know, sometimes it's 7/12s every week. So it gets hard to do both in between. And it takes me some time. You know, it's usually a year. You know, I really rough the songs in, and they sit there until I get time again. And it's not a fast process for me. So I'm trying to put out a song every month. But it helped because I had a lot of these worked out a little bit since COVID 2020. So, you know, I kind of just redo some parts, re-sing them, and mix and master. So, yeah.
So the concept of putting out a song once a month is something that I've been contemplating myself. I've been locked myself in the studio for the last 3 months working on all this music, and I'm getting ready to release it everywhere music's sold. But I'm thinking that today's person who's listening to music doesn't have an appetite for a whole album. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, well, you know what? When you release a whole album, you have to pick a song, and, you know, you can submit for them to, you know, for playlists and stuff, but you're only allowed one. So it costs the same amount to release a single or an album, which is fantastic if you're looking to do an album. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you can't get airplay on all of them at one time anyway. So my thought was, hey, I'll just do them one by one, and when I get enough, I'll just put them in an album and re-release it as an album. Mm-hmm. So, and you know what? Nobody picks it up, and you pitch them for playlists for Spotify and Apple and Amazon, and you know, it just.
Yeah, it's a process.
It is.
So there's different aggregators out there that publish your music. Who did you go with?
It's just published under myself, right? You can do that as a solo artist, right? You don't actually have to have a publisher. They're all copywritten.
Well, like when they're released to everywhere music's sold, I'm assuming that you didn't do all that yourself, that somebody did it for you. Would that be CD Baby or DistroKid?
Yeah, CD Baby. Yeah.
Is one better than the other?
I don't know. You know, it's probably just in preference. I liked CD Baby. I liked what they brought to the table. It's very easy. It was intimidating at first, right? But it's really quite simple.
What were the deciding factors, say, that you went with CD Baby?
You know, I really kind of looked at like DistroKid as more of a R&B kind of, maybe the rap kind of thing, and the artist that CD Baby kind of released, right? It seemed like it just fit more to me.
So as you're doing this music video, it looks like you had some help. It's a really good music video. Who was on the production team for the music video, and how did that work out?
So a gentleman, Slade Williamson, out of Lansing, he actually was dating my oldest daughter, and it was sprung up, spur of the moment, last minute. Hey, let's shoot a video this weekend, and I was not prepared at all. But the video is set up to, I kind of told him what my thoughts were, and he just kind of ran with the whole theme. And I originally was going to do this project under a different name, because when I Google Scott Gist, 15 Scott Gists come up, and
So would that explain why, if people want to see your music on YouTube, you got to go to Scott Gist 75?
Correct.
75, right? Are there 75 of you?
No, there's not 75. Scott Gist was taken, so I had to improvise a bit.
underneath us, we got the music to We Belong. So you worked with your daughter on this. How was your daughter involved?
Well, my oldest daughter was dating this guy, and man, actually, both of my older daughters kind of just jumped in and helped. You know, they were holding microphones, and I mean, it was a small team for sure, right? And we had a day and a half to prepare for this. But we all sat there in the concept, and you know, it was supposed to be a whole name change. So the video was supposed to be this tool maker wanting to be a rock star, dreaming about being a rock star, and that's kind of what the video represents.
I like that. You've been in the industry, in the automotive industry, for, you said 40 years?
40 years.
You got me beat. I think at 35.
Yeah.
Just had John Kane on. He's got 40.
Right.
So everybody's got me beat, right?
We're old.
They got me beat. Yeah.
The video was actually taken at my work in the parking lot. Is a lot of that footage, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah. So, it looks like it was shot in very high resolution, 8K or?
Yes. Yeah.
4K?
4K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what role did your daughter play?
I'm lost here.
Yeah, I thought your daughter played a role in the making of the video.
Not really much making the video. She just got us together with Slade, and we kind of all hashed it out together. My middle daughter does all the photography, the artwork for all the covers. Mm-hmm. But it was cool because, you know, my wife was there. She's in the video as the cake baker from an auto town, and my daughters are in the end of the video. That's them dancing in the background, and so it was kind of a family affair, and everyone was kind of involved in everything. So
yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we're going to do right now is we're gonna watch the video. It's We Belong, the music video by Scott Gist.
Lady Liberty's
So that's We Belong by
Get back to
Scott
work, man.
Gist.
Come on, let's go.
I like that.
Yeah, it's good ending.
It's very cool. So, got a few questions. The Stars and Stripes guitar. Tell us about that.
Well, it's a guitar I put together back in probably 2008, 2009. I decided to make my own guitars, and I was going to make my own line of guitars, so I started putting guitars together. And it was actually painted by a guy, Tony DiLacugo, who used to be a motorcycle painter, painted guitars. I think he's passed now, but yeah, I have one like that with the American flag. I also have one as a hot rod, which is gold, red flames, and yeah, it's a cool guitar.
Yeah, so when you go about making a guitar like that, it looks really high quality. How do you go about it? How do you go about picking out the wood? How do you go about getting the neck? How do you do all this stuff?
It's very intricate, very difficult. A lot of wasted money, right? Just because you don't know what it's going to sound like until you put it all together, what pickups to use. The neck on that is walnut. The neck, there's $1,000 in that neck alone with the inlays. And
Did you make the neck from scratch? Or
no, I buy the parts from Warmouth, which is a guitar parts distributor out of California. So basically all I did was put it together.
Oh, okay. So what's the neck from, a Telly?
It is a Telly. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be my next guitar.
I'm a Telly guy.
Yeah, I love Tellys. Tellys are great.
Yeah.
What about the body? Where'd you get the body?
The body was, I ordered it from that guy in Arizona, Tony DiLacugo. It's just an ash body with the painting.
What kind of pickups do you have in it?
I have Texas.
Tex-Mex?
I think they're Tex Blues. Yeah.
So in the video, it looked like the state capitol.
There's
I'm
some
not sure.
Lansing shots, yeah.
How did you decide to, you have this song, it's about liberty, Lady Liberty, freedom. How did you decide you wanted to do that at the Capitol? Where did the vision come from?
Well, it's kind of a silly answer, but the Slade Williamson is from Lansing, and we needed more night shots. So we went out there to shoot night shots. And it was cool shots with the Capitol. No, not many people there at nighttime, so it was really cool. You know, I was too cheap to actually go to New York because I really wanted to get the Statue of Liberty and that whole thing out there, but it would have been cool, but the budget didn't allow that. So. Right.
Where were the train tracks at that you filmed on?
The train tracks are actually right behind my work. I work at KUKA Robotics. We're North American. We assemble automation. It's like 16 in Mound area. So behind where I work, those train tracks are. So it was kind of...
So you just packed up your car, you loaded up your drum kit, your bass guitar, your Stars and Stripes guitar, and you had a few other stuff in there too, right? Yeah, it was fun. And it was all done at different times. A lot of it was... we had to come back. We needed more shots. It was a 5-minute video. It took a lot of shots, a lot of editing. Yeah, you brought some pictures with you. What did you bring?
Well, this is, I did an album in 1991 with Gary Spagnola at Cellar Sound Studio. And it was never published, but that's me, 1991. So, wow.
Working on a mullet there, just like me.
Yeah, well, still got it.
I like that, yeah. So, you said Gary Spagnola from Bittersweet Alley fame?
Yeah, we worked together on that album. It was a great album. It didn't get published due to a Seattle invasion.
Oh, yeah, explain.
Yeah, well, 1991, right, kind of rock and roll fell, and the new Seattle scene came in, and the record companies, nobody wanted to hear any pop rock entertainment anymore. So even the bands like Poison and Nelson and Winger and all those bands kind of went to the wayside. So it was kind of a disturbing time for me. I wound up working with Gary in the studio from 93 to 96, which was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. That was a blast. So that's kind of where I got a lot of my recording experience. So he was a great teacher.
Gary had Cellar Sound?
Cellar Sound.
Where was that located?
It was at 16 and Mound area.
Oh, okay.
It was in his house.
Oh, okay. And so you kind of cut your teeth with him.
I did. Yeah, we got to be good friends when we did the album. It's just a beautiful relationship right through the years, and it was good times. A lot of good times.
I was a big fan of Bittersweet Alley,
Absolutely,
Toby Red.
Absolutely. The best years, right?
Yeah, when I was in terrestrial radio back in 77 through 81, I got their press packets from Trillium Records.
Nice.
And we used to go see them all the time.
Absolutely.
Main Act and Septembers.
Yeah.
And
it was a great time for Detroit rock and roll.
Absolutely.
It didn't matter what day of the week you went. It was standing room only, and the best bands I want to say in this country probably. I mean, there was just great rock and roll entertainment.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the bar scene around here, by the way, respects to Joe Scroy, who was the owner of...
The king of entertainment.
Yeah, the king of entertainment, just passed away a couple days ago.
Absolutely.
And we hope he's earned his wings and is with God in heaven. He's certainly helped a lot of musicians.
Yeah.
Did you have a relationship with Joe?
Not with Joe. We used to do a lot of opening acts. We opened up for Bittersweet Alley, Toby Red a lot back in the day. That would have been mid-'80s to end of the '80s.
What was the name of the band?
It was Kimono, and it was guys from Catch-22.
Okay.
We did a lot of... we weren't so much rock back then. We picked the new wave side of it all. So we were playing Berlin and Talk Talk and Duran Duran. So yeah.
And so that was one of the cover bands you were in?
It was.
So how many cover bands were you in?
The 80s, late 80s brought, a top 40 thing. So I did hotels for 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, which was absolutely brutal when you work 60 hours a week as a tool maker. I'd play out in Ortonville on a Saturday night or a Friday night and get home at 3 in the morning and have to be at work at 6. So they were brutal years.
Yeah, you sound like Chris Badney, who was just on the show.
Yeah.
Saying, talk about dedication. The thing is Detroit music scene is also pretty cliquish. And a lot of the musicians, if they don't see you playing out, you're kind of dismissed.
Correct.
And I don't like that because I've never put down my guitar. I've always played. I chose a career in engineering, and I had a 35-year career, with Ford Motor Company and then became a consultant, but I never dropped the guitar, and it seems like that's your story as well, that you've always pursued music. And
it is. And, a funny story, I was playing in a place called Marty's Club Royale out in Lake Orion, and Tim Marco and Rich Nelson from Bittersweet Alley was starting a new group, and I was auditioning as a singer for them, and I happened to be playing this bar that night, and they came to watch, and these were the top 40 years, so they kind of came in there, and I scrambled, looked at the hardest rock we had at the time, which was a Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love, and an INXS, Devil Inside, and did those for them, and never got a call. And probably weeks later, I called them, and I said, hey, what's the deal? And they're kind of like, well, we're looking for a rock guy. And I'm thinking, I'm a rock guy, They're like, well, no, but you're doing top 40. I'm like, yeah, but I'm a rock guy, right? So I didn't get the gig because I was a top 40 guy. But, it's brutal at times, right?
Oh, that's funny. So you do a lot of cover art.
Yeah, yeah. Me and my daughter, we take a lot of pride in that. She is really good at the craft.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sometimes she takes the pictures, sometimes I take the pictures, but she does all the Photoshop. She does all the fonts. And
Nice.
yeah.
So tell us about this cover art right here.
That's actually a picture of my dining room. I have a 6-foot grand piano, and that's my Christmas tree in the background, and that is probably somewhere around 2018. And I always liked the picture. So when the song came out, I sort of gave it to my daughter. I said, hey, you know, what can you do with this? And she kind of put the bow on, and and that's the history there.
I like that. So, Drummer Boy, that's a new rendition of the Christmas classic.
It is. So I always liked the song. You know, when I jam at home and write, it's generally on acoustic guitar. So I was jamming it, and just something came to me, and I said, man, this song just needs choruses. It's kind of... So I added the choruses, wrote the choruses, and yeah, it's a different take on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then we have some other artwork here. The one that we showed before, that was It's Christmas Day,
Yeah.
and then the Little Drummer Boy.
Yep. That is my drum from my drum set sitting on my stage in my basement. And yeah, I fought for that picture because everyone hated that picture. But
Why did they hate it?
You know, they kind of, my family kind of thought it should be more of a traditional thing since the song was old classic. And I just liked the colors. You know, it was just something different. It was a little different from all the other artwork we had at the time, and so...
Oh, it's definitely really cool. This is another one right here that we have. This is No More Sad Goodbyes. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, well, No More Sad Goodbyes, first of all, is a great ballad song I wrote for my daughter, who was 16 at the time, and broke up with her first forever boyfriend, and just took it hard. So I sat down there, and it came together quite easy, and that was actually a promo shot that my middle daughter, Courtney, took, and then we just added the words to it. I always liked the picture. You know, they got the bell bottoms and the leopard boots, and I mean, how can you go wrong, right?
Yeah.
So,
where'd you get all those bracelets at?
Yeah, well, that's years of... That's years of just collecting and daughters, right? Those are Father's Day presents, and yeah.
Yeah, I had the links to that song, and somehow they didn't get uploaded here to the studio, so we won't be able to play that. But we got this artwork that this is the...
That's the rear cover for We Belong. So, you know, originally that was going to be the album cover and the back of the cover, but singles... They don't have rear covers, so we actually have, at some point, that print in a T-shirt font, and it's actually a pretty cool T-shirt. So that might wind up on a T-shirt, or that might be the back of the album when we release it.
Yeah, are you selling merchandise?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
Right. Everything's slow in my life, right? Yeah. Like, I really have intentions on putting a band together, too, and playing, right?
Yeah.
Which sounds like a blast, right? But, man, it is just... It's hard to commit a lot of times, right? When I don't know, I work out of town sometimes. Sometimes I got to work nights for a while, and it's hard to commit to 4 or 5 other people and not...
Sure.
You know.
So which song did you write about your daughter?
That No More Sad Goodbyes.
No More Sad Goodbyes. I wrote a song for my daughters as well. It's called Hard Air Balloon. I'll just bring up the instrumental version of it here.
Cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how kids just become our total focus and
Absolutely
become part of the music that we're creating, you know?
Yeah.
So you go back in music all the way to high school. Do you still jam with your high school friends?
Well, you know what's funny you bring that up, because I remember all the years where we jammed, right? Jimmy and I go back a ways, and we have mutual friends, and some of the greatest times, right? Was
Absolutely.
every year we'd get together with all the guys and we'd just have a jam, and man, it was just a blast. And we haven't done that in probably 10, 15 years. We should do it again.
Yeah, I think the last time we did it was at our buddy Kevin's house.
Yeah.
And I think you brought like about 3 or 4 keyboards with you.
Yeah.
You still have the same keyboards?
I don't.
No?
You know, I have newer keyboards, and I for a lot of years I had a bunch of stuff, and I go through equipment and get new stuff, but the last 20 years after that, I haven't parted with anything, right? So my drum set's 25 years old now, and my Marshalls and some of my guitars.
Do you have any, we'll call them horror stories about gear that you had that you got rid of that you just wish you didn't get rid of?
Absolutely.
Everybody's got one. Tell us your horror story.
The worst one is I'm a Soldano guy. I just absolutely love Soldano.
High gain.
High gain. I had the world's greatest preamp in 1991. It's on my first album, and man, it's just magic.
Yeah.
And
what's the name of that album?
It was self-titled, Scott Gist, and maybe one day, I don't know. You know, there's plans on maybe releasing it as a retro thing, but yeah, it was a great piece of equipment. Right, times got hard. I sold it to a friend of mine for pennies on the dollar, and they're worth a lot of money now. And
pennies on the dollar. That doesn't sound too good.
That's
Soldano, high gain, metal amplifier, pennies on the dollar. What does that mean? What did you sell it for?
$400.
Oh.
And back in the day, right, that was a preamp, and it was a $1,300-$1,400 preamp at the time. But man, I needed money. I sold my Marshall stack for next to nothing as well. Probably $350 a speaker, right?
What kind of Marshall stack did you have?
1960 A&B.
Nice. What type of head?
I used a Soldano preamp with a Moss valve power amp. Right. It was a rack system, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Sounds fantastic.
It was a blast.
Yeah, we have some more cover art here. This is right here, Will the Angels Sing? Tell us about that one.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool thing. So I wasn't sure what we were going to do here, and my daughter one day just went out in her backyard and was shooting pictures of the clouds. I'm sure her neighbors must have thought she was in the Looney Tune, brigade. But and she hit.
Who cares what the neighbors think, right?
Yeah. And then she says, get dressed up, come on over, and we'll shoot some pictures in the basement. And I'm like, well, how's all this going to go together? And she says, just trust me. Yeah. So she hung up a sheet in her bathroom.
Green screen?
Well,
chroma key?
It was just a white one with the light turned on in the back, and I stood in front of the door. And I looked into the bathroom, which was just a sheet, which kind of put the glare on my face. And then she photoshopped the rest of it, and what a fantastic job. It's one of my favorite covers.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's Will the Angels Sing.
Yeah, great song.
So we looked at No More Sad Goodbyes. Did we see this one? We saw that one. We saw We Belong the Backside. Time Goes By.
Yep, Time Goes By is about my 3 daughters. Man, it goes by, right? And next thing you know, they're grown up. They've left, and it's amazing. Once that car seat gets out of your car, dude, they're driving, right? So it's criminal how fast it goes.
For those of you watching that are young, that haven't had kids yet, you'll understand one day it goes by so fast. Yeah. I remember holding my firstborn, Leah, at Troy Beaumont, and never held a baby before in my life.
Right.
And my wife delivers this beautiful baby. She wakes up, and as she's born, she's like looking the whole room like she was born alert, right? Then they hand her to me, and I never held a baby before, and they're like, then they leave the room, and you're just like on your own,
right?
But then boom, it's like they're on their own now.
Yeah,
and it's like, where did time go?
I'm telling you, it seemed like an eternity for that car seat in the car, right? And I can't wait to not have to do this anymore, or give them baths, or feed them all the time. And careful what you wish for, right? Because man, oh man, I'm telling you, the car seat came out of that car, and the next thing you know, she's driving her own car. So yeah, it goes by fast.
Yeah. So tell us about you have a website?
I do, scottgist.com.
Okay.
everything on it's free. You can see the video. The links are there for that. The music, you can listen to it there. You can't download it because, I don't know. You can listen for free or you can stream it, anywhere. Yeah. So it's just a place somebody can go and just listen. A lot of people in our generation, right? You talk about streaming or downloads, and I was that person before all this, right? It's like, what are you talking about? How do I do that? Where do I go for that, right? I don't want to pay for downloads or streams, and so it's just a good place, right? And I can go on Facebook and just if the new release, if you want to catch it early, it's on scottgist.com, and go listen for free.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. That's really one of my selfish reasons for doing this podcast, is to get out some of my music as well. So let's listen to one of my songs right now. This is called Blood Legacy. It's Blood Legacy.
Nice
my
job.
Tribute to La Familia.
Fantastic.
In Sicily. So a lot of that footage is from Carini, which is on the coast of Sicily. And that was a really, really nice trip we had last June and July. We went there for 3 weeks. And
Nice.
You been around the world?
Not really. No, I work. Work. That's
Work.
what I do.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Well,
Royalties from, the song We Belong. How much effort did you put in terms of time into completing the song We Belong?
that is an awesome question, right? A lot goes into this, right? The concept of writing it, the writing all the parts, writing all the lyrics, and then you get the task of laying the tracks down, and nothing's ever good enough. It's months and months sometimes. It's a lot of hard work. Mixing and mastering is really where I fall short. I struggle a lot through that process. And everything past that, right? Everything past that is everything as a musician we don't do, right? The videos and the website that you got to do, and hunting out the distributor and signing up.
Are you doing all that yourself? The website, the production, the performance, the writing, and everything you're doing by yourself?
Yep, and it is absolutely brutal, right? Because I'm the guy that if I don't know, like mastering, if I don't know how to do it right, it sits. I just put it to the side and it sits there, right?
What is it about mastering? What is it about mastering that you find difficult or tricky or?
Well, it's the end result, right? It's all the finished polish on it, right? So all your frequencies got to be right, and it really is hitting digital zero, right, is really what it's all about, bringing it up. And a lot of home studios were not set up correctly with the acoustic tiles, and the rooms aren't treated properly, right? So a lot of us at home do it ourselves, right? We're really high-endy because the bass is really hard to capture. So, yeah, trying to get that right. I would transfer to CD because at the time, I'd go in my car and I'd listen to it and compare it to other CDs, and it's just a lot of struggling to try and get that right. And
would you say that your challenge was getting the low end right?
Yeah.
That's something they don't teach in school. I've been an audio engineer professionally for over 30 years, and I have a degree in it. And they don't teach you how to do that. It's a lot of high pass, low pass filtering, and almost every instrument besides the drums, the kick drum, and the bass guitar get high passed. You cut. I don't know what you do, but I cut 150 hertz and below on every instrument, and on some up to 250 hertz to make room for that low end. What people don't know is that when you're mixing, you have a metaphorically, you have a gallon of milk, right? And all of that song's got to fit in that gallon of milk, right? And that includes the bass, the mids, and the highs, and the presence, and all that. And the bass accounts for a large percentage of what's going in that gallon of milk, right? That's why I high pass all the instruments except for bass drum and bass guitar. Do you do that? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I do a little of everything and not sure what I'm doing most of the way. I rely on just what sounds good to me, and is it right, is it wrong? I don't know. Like my guitar playing, right? I'm not really a guitar player, I'm a drummer. So I play chords that just probably don't exist, or I don't know what they are, but they sound cool to me. And that's my approach on mixing and mastering.
Right. You said that you made the comment that you target 0, right? That's your target.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what your final result wants to be as close to digital 0 as you can be, right?
But not over, because
Not over.
digital distortion sounds nasty.
It's terrible.
But what's interesting, though, is then you release this music to YouTube and to Spotify and to Apple Music, and they have an algorithm that lowers it to loudness units full scale, like -12 to -18. LUFS, they call it, right? And so the trick is to master as close to 0 as you can and then gain it down before you send it to the aggregator, so it sounds right.
And some sound better than others. I know the YouTube stuff, to me, doesn't sound as good as, say, Spotify or, Pandora, the same, right? I don't think Pandora sounds as good as, iHeart, or there is differences in all of them.
It's because of the compression, I believe, and a lot of the producers I talk to, what they say to get around that is that they mix as close to 0 as possible. They just rail it and then master that down and then gain that master down to -18 LUFS for distribution. You go through all this work, and what's the payback? So how many streams? How's your song performing out there?
Yeah, well, it's amazing, because it don't matter how hard you try, right? The record company still got the market. So it's really a great bonus that you can do this yourself, because there was a day we couldn't do this, right? You couldn't distribute yourself. But now you can, but you still, your battles have just begun, because the streaming services are, they're really, it's all about the music, the record companies, right? They still hold all the weight. They pay all the money, so they get all the plays. They don't want to put you on playlists. They don't. It's ridiculous what you get paid. And not that we do it for money, right? Because there's really no money into it. But geez, I mean.
Well, they're offering, I think, 0.002 seconds per stream. How many streams do you have to get a $30 paycheck?
Well, I think YouTube is, and I'm grasping at the numbers. I believe this number's right, but I think YouTube is 10,000, views for the first $30. The streaming services are, for, what is it? 300 streams get you the first 99 cents, right? 30 buys get you at 99 cents, get you 99 cents. So, I mean, it truly is not fair. And I know there are people with legislation trying to improve that, and it really does need to be fixed.
I know that President Trump did that in his first term. Towards the end of his first term, he did the Modern Digital Copyright Act, but I haven't noticed any difference. And what do you know that's going on that's going to change things?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope that we keep just pounding away at it, because, every people, we all deserve, I mean, we're all artists, right? And it's just a hard market to crack. And I think the new generation that's coming up doesn't know what it takes, and they just think music's free, right? They just don't know what it takes to do that, and it really needs to change a little bit, be fair to everyone.
I don't know any other art form that gets ripped off like the modern musician. It's really sad.
It is sad.
Absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. But the thing is, though, drop us an email. Drop me an email at JimiGProductions.com. JimiG@JimiGProductions.com. Let us know what you think. But I'm learning from Rick Beato. I don't know if you ever watch Rick Beato.
No.
He's really popular on YouTube, and he does a lot of breakdowns of why is this song great. And he even posted that he would not be able to get somebody like David Gilmour on his show because he just doesn't have enough views, and he already had 2 channels with 1 million followers. He was surprised that David Gilmour called him up and said he'd be on the show, and he was. But he has this video about why rock music is dead. And in one of the videos, he says that there's people, the young kids don't even listen to music. I can't understand that.
Yeah, well, I don't think they even want to hear a 3-minute song anymore, right? If it's not a TikTok and it's 30 seconds or less, it doesn't get their attention. So,
what do you think? It's the is it the attention span isn't there, or what is it that makes people? I can't live without music. I'm a music guy. I can't live without music. What is it?
I read an article too. They said that the electric guitar is dead. The young kids don't buy electric guitars. And you know what they said it was from is that back in the day, Jimi Hendrix or Led Zeppelin come out with a cool album with cool guitar riffs, and kids ran to the music store to buy a guitar to be able to play that riff for their buddies. And it just doesn't have that anymore. And I don't know how or why or when we lost all that.
Well, last week, Beato did a video. You should look him up. He's got some really good stuff about trends in music, and he mentioned what you just said, that guitar is dead, but it's not. The trends show that guitar is like up 60% year over year, where rap music is down.
Really? Well, you know what I think? There's my take on that. I think us old-timers, right, are the ones keeping the electric guitar alive, because I don't know about you, but I got 50 of them myself. And, I just keep buying, and maybe I'm, keeping up the stats for them.
You got 50 guitars.
I do. It's
Can you name them all?
I could. Yeah. But yeah, it's a sickness, right? Yeah. I have way too many. I said at one point in my life you could never have enough guitars, and then there was 50, and I go, where am I going to put all these? At 50, you go, oh my God, I don't need this many guitars. So,
well, is the 50 all 6 strings? Are they a mix of 12 string, 6 string, bass guitars, ukuleles, mandolins?
Everything. Yeah, I have a lot of 12 strings. I have a lot of acoustic guitars. I probably have up to maybe 20 of them. Solid body acoustics and solid body 12-string acoustics, and I got a pretty fair mixture of everything.
Who do you think makes the best acoustic guitar?
I'm a Taylor guy, but I really am a Taylor guy. But man, I have a sad story about my first Taylor guitar. I bought my first Taylor, I think it was a 224, right, which was their low end model at $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it home and it played great, and I'm like looking to see where it was made and can't find anything on the guitar. And I look at the box it came in, it says made in Mexico, and I think, what, the box? The box is made in Mexico? So I Googled it. I said, well, how do I know where this guitar was made? And it says, look at the serial number, right? 1s are American made, 2s are Mexican made. So I looked, sure enough, it's Mexican made. And I was pretty disappointed. I'm thinking, $1,500, at the time, bought you a really nice Fender guitar. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite.
You're talking
guitars.
about the American Classic?
Yeah, I'm Eric Clapton is my favorite guitar in my collection, Blackie. And it's a $1,600 guitar. So I just really thought that I was in American-made product, right?
Yeah.
And I emailed them, and it's kind of funny, right? I said, I really feel like you took advantage. You were trying to hide it from me, and I plead this. And they said, well, would you feel better knowing that your guitar was made in California by all Mexicans?
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Is that the answer to that? But I do believe Taylor makes a great acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of Gibsons that, Gibsons for a lot of years did not stand up, and
yeah, I like Martin.
Yeah, I don't have a Martin guitar, but that's what I used on my 1991 album was
nice.
Gary Spagnola D28.
It's great to have you on the show. We are out of time. I want to thank you for coming on, and I wish you all the best luck on your music. And there'll be a lot of news coming up on my music soon.
Great.
And
we'll get together and jam soon, I'm sure. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
The boys.
Yeah. So thanks to Scott Gist. If you have anybody that you know that has a musical band here in Michigan and wants to be on the show, drop us a line, all right? And we'll see you next time on JimiG, the podcast, all right? Take care. Thank you for watching JimiG's AnÖmaly, the podcast with Jim Lazak. We would like to thank Scott Gist for appearing and sharing his talent and musical accomplishments with us. Music for the podcast was provided by JimiG's AnÖmaly Music Project. If you are an artist and would like to be featured on our podcast, or if you have something really interesting you want to share, send us an email to the email shown on the screen. Thanks for tuning in to JimiG's AnÖmaly, the podcast, and we'll see you next time.